so much of, when we're talking about the relationship of software to cinema, there's this whole realm of work around creation and distribution and marketing, which is hugely important, which is quite different from what we're talking about today, which is the software as something which facilitates new storytelling experiences. Software, digital technology, what it does is, in essence, it extends film language through interaction. Interaction in traditional cinema can be really thought about as like surrendering to the passage of time. And that's very, very different from the way that interaction designers think. So if you're thinking about interaction design and how to apply this to creating interactive film, a good place to start is with an understanding of what a mental model is. Mental models are like what people have in their heads and what guides their use of things. The normal way we think of a film is like all of those things are invisible to us. We only look at one at a time, right? And the mental model is that I'm just going to sit and watch it, and it's going to go, I'm going to see one shot and another shot and another shot, right? Sequentially. So with interaction design, we can actually change that, right? One way to sort of think about this is to say, like, okay, well, what if those shots didn't happen sequentially in time and were invisible to each other? What if you could stack them up? And that's what you see in the sort of what people are calling scrolly-telling interfaces, right? And your view moves through these things. And one of the reasons why this works so well is because you're using a built-in interaction model, which everybody's familiar with, in terms of being able to scroll pages up and down. But what if you were to take that and then, for instance, have a vertical column and then have like these kind of ancillary arms that extend off, right? And that's what you see in The Last Hunt, right? In Jeremy Mendes's piece, and the interaction here is really, so what you have is you have this scrolling story, and then you have these adjacent photos. You see the link to view the photos off to the right. Right? You can kind of go off to the side, look at the photos, and then go back to the main story. And so when we're talking about design, fundamentally, with all whatever you have whatever these structures are, it's really important to think about usability. And having a mental model which kind of makes sense is important. The other question is, like, how naturally sort of usable is it? How do you instruct people how to use things? And that barrier, I think, is one of the biggest challenges that interactive filmmakers have to deal with. The best work, in my mind, are things where as soon as you kind of overcome that hump, and this is Vincent Morissette's Just a Reflector, and so much of what Vincent does, which is amazing, which is he'll have this set up, and it's actually sometimes relatively complex. But as soon as you get it, you use the interface almost like you're dancing, right? Like you're just performing, and you're playing, and it's completely, and you're not thinking about it. So, and then that gets you back to this experience of this kind of transcendental experience, right? So if you can create a mental model, an interaction model, and onboard people in a way where it's really transparent, at a certain point, you're going to get back to that kind of elemental, transcendental experience, which I think is what we all want. And just a reminder that films always. I always like to end talks with this reminder that film is a continuing, evolving art form, and we should all continue to push ourselves. Thank you very much.